heading out right now to go hit a run walk with my brother and sister-in-law and wifey. It is 5 a.m. Then get back here, take my kid to school, take my son to school. My wife takes my daughter to school usually. And then getting the day kicked off and getting the day rolling. Heading to the gym. Gonna hit up a chest workout today with my bro. And we'll see how the rest of the day goes. Happy day number 27.
Right.
Hitting up these run walks. It's dark as fuck. You can't see much, but out here with my fam. My brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, the wifey. I promise that I'm not just filming in a pitch black room. These run walks are amazing. Highly recommend you give it a shot if you're new to it. Haven't done much of it. You know, tie up your shoes kind of tight and run 50 yards. And then walk 200 yards. And repeat that. And you don't need to start out with it doesn't have to be a real run. You can start out with a nice jog. But today, we're not really jogging. This is not a walk jog. It's a walk run. The walk is kind of aggressive. It's a good pace. And the run is not a sprint, but it's a run. Give it a shot. Today we went about 3 miles, maybe a little more. Probably within that 3 mile span, probably ran about 10 or 15 times. And pick up a little bit of light right here. There we go. There's some light. Got some proof that I'm out here running it. On my way to Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. A beautiful day here in Sacramento. Driving over the causeway, and those are big giant rice fields over there. But I got a war on carbs, so I don't need no stinking rice fields. What I wanted to say to you guys right now is I've been thinking about this a lot, and I want to talk about these eating. I'm going to shut this thing off for a second here. Cancel. I wanted to mention to you guys, you know, I've been thinking a lot about like why the carnivore diet is so effective and why more people need to be on it and why more people need to give it an honest shot and give it a try. 2 ways. There's a lot of ways you can get fat, but in my opinion, from what I see, there's 2 main ways we get fat. We eat too frequently, we eat too often, and we eat too much. We eat too often because we feel hungry. We feel hungry throughout the day. And don't worry, I'm not going to die. I got the self-driving, this autonomous driving is driving me out here. So we all good up in here with this Tesla. It's got more eyes than I do, so it's working out. But we eat too frequently and we eat too much. And when you combine those 2 things, it ends up being a recipe for disaster, because when we eat too often, we're interrupting what the body's metabolism was meant to do. I like to refer to it as it insults our metabolism. You are insulting the way that you're designed. Another way that you're insulting the way that you're designed is by eating things that override the body's natural ability to identify that you had enough food. Those foods would be processed foods. Not necessarily just carbohydrates, but processed foods in general would be in that category. Things like potato chips, things like Doritos, things like French fries, you know, even fast food, fried food, cake, ice cream, you know, all these kinds of things, right? Pizza. And even aside from the carnivore diet, when you start to eat the foods that are very natural to the earth, and you think about the way that we probably ate from an ancestral standpoint, we probably ate a lot of meat. And then the other thing that we would eat is maybe some like berries and maybe small amounts of fruit. And you would I can't think of a scenario where, you know, a long ass time ago where you would eat, you know, 50 grams of sugar, you know. I just don't think it existed in any form. Maybe if you actually found sugar, but I don't even know how you break down sugar cane and all that. That's highly processed and manufactured too. And then it comes in a, you know, comes in a very powerful form that's really very concentrated, right? So the body's not really, if you think about it, the body, while it is designed really well and it can handle all kinds of stuff, you can have, you know, a big old cup of orange juice and be totally fine, but that's highly processed as well. Like, it went through a process that leaves it no longer in its natural form and natural state. If you were to eat an orange, that would be way different, especially if you were to eat fruit from a long time ago. They'd be a lot smaller. But if you were to eat an orange, like, you might have about 25 grams of carbs, and there might be about 5 grams of that might be fiber. But within the orange itself, or within the apple itself, there's a lot of cofactors in there that help with its digestion and absorption. And there's also going to be some signaling going on where you're like, wow, I just ate 3 apples, and you're going to feel pretty full. Whereas opposed to if you blended up 10 apples, that would probably make a decent cup, you know, one 16-ounce thing of apple juice, right? Would probably be like 10 apples or 6 apples or something like that, which would be crazy to eat and would kill your stomach. But the potassium that's in there, that also is going to help stabilize your blood sugar. The fiber that's in there is going to slow down its absorption. There's a lot of things, and I don't, you know, I'm not a food scientist, so I don't know everything involved in it, but I know enough. And when it comes to trying to shut down your body from wanting to overeat, one of the best things you can do is eat protein, because protein is the most satiating thing that we have. Protein, protein, protein. Think about eating like a chicken breast. Try to eat 3 chicken breasts. Try to eat 3 pretty good sized chicken breasts with nothing on them, you know? That's going to be very difficult. That's going to be pretty damn tough, right? Now, try to have 3 chicken thighs or 3 chicken breasts that have skin on them. Now it's a lot easier to eat because now we have some fat in there, right? But it's still not intrusive enough, and it's still not insulting enough to our body, to the way that we're designed, to override all the circuitry that we have towards recognizing that we're full. The foods that are going to override that are, again, going to be the processed foods, the junk foods. And when you start to even once you start to mix ingredients, and there's a lot of fake health out there too. So don't forget about fake health, because these Pop-Tarts and these cookies and these bars, they're all kind of in that category too, because they're trying to make things taste really good. So you eat more of them, so you purchase them, while still maintaining some nutritional integrity, I guess you would call it, which I think is really cool. And I think it's a great opportunity for you to enjoy something that's sweet, enjoy something that's different, but now you didn't go too far off the rails, right? And that's the point of that stuff. And like Perfect Keto has bars. They sponsor my podcast. I'm great friends with the people at Quest. They've sponsored a lot of stuff I've done over the years, and I'm a proponent of those things. I think that those things can be an advantage to help you stay on your plan for a really long time. But if you eat a lot of them every day, you kind of fall into the same trap, because now you're consuming too many calories. You're also going to be kind of hurting your stomach. Like, these things they're not natural, right? The more that we get away from things that are natural to the earth, the further away we get from our health, is my opinion. You get further away from the things that are kind of designed and meant for us to eat, the further we get away from our health. I would also want to say that if you don't overeat, that you are not doing nearly the amount of damage as if you overeat and have processed foods. If you mix in a little bit of junk here and there, I don't think it's that huge of a deal. I don't think it's that big of a problem. What I'm looking at and what I'm interested in is not longevity, because I don't believe there's anybody out there at the moment that's going to, sit underneath a red light or eat a certain way and live to be 125 years old. I don't think they're going to get a 10% advantage over everybody, a 20% advantage. We're not going to see that, and we're not going to see that for probably we might see it towards the end of our lifetime, you know, if we're, you know, blessed enough to live till we're 80 or whatever, 90, 100, then maybe we'll see it kind of on the tail end. But I don't think that kind of stuff is going to happen. I don't think it's not going to make that big of a difference. What it will make a difference with is how you live. So I always say that we're dying longer. We're not living longer. We're dying longer. You know, it's cool that people are living to 80, you know, and 90 and 100, but how are they living? You know, a lot of the people that live to 100 live pretty good, because if you can make it that long, then you know, you're relatively healthy. But how many people have, you know, problems with their feet, and how many people have, you know, problems with, you know, people sometimes lose limbs because they have diabetes. How many people are, you know, kind of in like a wheelchair, or, you know, a walker, or just in pain, or, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that are like that, and that's not the maximum way to live your life. So how do you live? That's more my thing, is like, I want to live a good, strong, powerful life. And I feel like this is the strongest I've ever been in my life. And when you take all facets of the game, yeah, I can't go in there and squat 1,000 pounds. It would break my leg. It would literally break my leg without question. It would break my leg. But I've done that shit before, and I'm over it. I don't need to do that anymore. I don't have a desire to do that anymore. I'm not even prepared to do anything like that at the moment. I'm too light as well. You know, being this lighter body weight would make it very, very, very difficult. But my point is like, you know, you're trying to mold yourself into being able to do more and be more. You know, the more that you can do, the more that you can handle, the more that you can be, the more opportunities that you have. And that's what I'm interested in. That's why I'm talking to you about sleep. That's why I'm talking about walking. That's why I'm talking about running. I went on a 3-mile run walk this morning, and it was easy, and it felt awesome. You know, it took us about 37 minutes. So it's not like we're setting the world on fire. You know, that would be nice to get that down to be 30 minutes exactly. That would be good. Shaving it down by that much would be great. And I know that's what, like a 10-minute mile or something like that. That's not like really hauling ass, but considering that we're walking in between, then our run is pretty good. Anyway, what I'm seeing happening to a lot of people is they are, you know, over-consuming food in two different ways. One is through the frequency, and two is through the amount of food that they eat in a given sitting. And a lot of it has to do with the types of foods that we eat. When you go on a carnivore style diet, and when you only eat meat, that starts to not happen anymore. You end up with what I like to call inadvertent fasting. And the reason why it's inadvertent is because you might have ate some steak and eggs for breakfast, but you're not going to eat again until like 2 or 3 o'clock in some cases. Now, I know there's guys like, I could eat it all day. I could eat it. Hey, Smelly, I could eat it all day. I'm so hungry. You don't understand. Dude, do it for 3 days. Do it for 5 days. Do it for a week. Do it for 2 weeks. Do it for 2 months. And the wheels will start to fall off at some point where you're like, oh my God. Especially if you're eating pretty lean meats, it'll get to be very, very difficult. So you can kind of have at it at this diet, and what's going to happen is it's gonna, you know, on your phone you got a setting on your phone. You got a setting on your phone to do autocorrect in your spelling, right? This is gonna flip that autocorrect on. This is gonna autocorrect your inability to know how much food you should eat to stay in good shape. This is going to now override your body's inability, because right now you're not identifying how much food you need. And that's why I fucking hate scales and weighing shit, because I think those are made up accounts of how much you should eat. And I really, I don't think that's a good way to go. Some people are like, it's a good teaching tool. It's not. It's a bullshit teaching tool, and it doesn't work. And I see people yo-yoing bad off of that. They're like in shape, and then they're depressed, they're out of shape. They're in shape, then they're depressed, they're out of shape every single time. Every single time. You need to learn how to eat. You need to learn how to eat for yourself. You need to know how these foods feel and how you react to them. And when you do a carnivore style diet, you end up with some inadvertent fasting, because when you eat protein, it's the most satiating, and it's going to delay the onset of your hunger. In addition to that, it's also going to stuff back those cravings, because the cravings and hunger to me are two separate categories. Cravings hunger and being like satisfied with the meal, they're all sort of different things. Like being full and being satisfied with the meal are slightly different things, because you can be full and still not be satisfied, and you can be satisfied and still not be full. You see what I'm saying? But dude, boys, girls, listen to what I'm saying. Let me shake you up a little bit. Yeah. I went out last night. I smashed some sushi. It was Hambone's birthday. He turned 7. Hamish, my nephew, and I just obliterated a bunch of sushi, a bunch of sashimi. And once that was done, I went back home, probably an hour later or so, because we went on a big walk, after our meal. And I ate eggs. I had 8 eggs. 4 of them were hard-boiled, and I just ate the egg whites to get that protein spike up to try to prevent me from overeating. And that's how I start out some of my meals, is with some of those. So I ate those, and then I had 4 regular scrambled eggs, cooked in some bacon fat, and I cooked up 2 big giant chunks of bacon, and then I cooked up a flat iron Piedmontese steak, which is extremely lean, because I'm trying to eat a little bit leaner stuff and a little bit less fat, even though I just mentioned there was a lot of fat in some of the other stuff I ate. When I went to sushi, I had yellowtail, which is pretty lean. I also had some totoro, I think that's how you say it, chotoro, I don't know. Basically fatty tuna. I had fatty tuna, that shit's really good. And I had some salmon. But look, I stuffed myself twice, right? I stuffed myself twice. Woke up this morning, 226 pounds and completely shredded, And I'm doing this every day. So it's not like, and there's days where I'm in a huge surplus, and I know I am, because I ate like 2 or 3 times and I smashed as much food as I possibly could. Now, other people are going to be like, you're in a deficit if you're losing weight. That's the definition of losing weight. Well, then let's just call it losing weight and not even bother to call it a deficit or a surplus, because who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter. That shit is irrelevant. You can see it really chaps my ass. I just think it's an inaccurate way to do things, and I just think that a more efficient way is to be meat-minded. Be meat-minded. Be protein-minded. Go after protein first. Eat protein like it's your job. Eat a minimum of your body weight in protein every single day, in grams of protein every single day. That's a minimum. That is an absolute minimum. You should be probably be higher and lower depending on the time of year and depending on your specific goals. But I'd ramp that up to even 2 for some of you. I ran into a guy the other day eating 650 grams of protein. I think, now look, I think to do that all the time probably doesn't make a lot of sense. Anyway, I'm unaware, somebody wants to point me in a direction of something different, but like, I'm unaware of other diets that do this shit for you. It's doing it for you. That's what makes it easy. That's what makes it simple. And if we're lifting weights, we're building muscle, and the body is going to have a certain metabolic demand when you have muscle, and so your body will be working for you as well. If your body's working for you and your diet is working for you and you're not working for them, it switches the whole fucking game around, and it will switch it around forever. And I know that it will do it for everyone. People are like, you can't say that. Oh my God. You can't say, there's no cookie cutter program that'll work for everybody. Yeah, there's no cookie cutter, because you shouldn't be eating fucking cookies, you fat fucks. But if you just eat meat, it will work for you. It will make a big difference. It will work for anybody. Anybody that's ready, anybody that's willing to try it. I didn't start running. Look, I started out with walking about 6 or 7 years ago. The walking randomly turned into jogging out of nowhere. I've been dieting for a long time. It took me 10 years to lose 100 pounds. I was 330 at one point. It took me 10 years. And in that time span, yeah, I added some walking, I added some exercise, but I never had the energy to go run. 27 days. 27 days of being full carnivore and being strict. And midway through that, 13 days through that, I start taking off and I start running. Huh? I started really flirting with this in December, and that's actually when I kind of picked up some of the running. So I've been on the diet for a little bit longer than the 27 days. But You guys catch my drift? You downloading what I'm putting out there? You picking up what I'm putting down? The walking turned into running, and the walking turned into jogging, and then the jogging turned into running, and the running is now turning into me doing sprints here and there, which is absolutely insane. From a 330-pound powerlifter, played football my whole life. I was a track athlete as well. I did boxing. I did professional wrestling for a long ass time. I should be grizzled. I squatted over 1,000 pounds, probably 50 times. Probably about 4 or 5, 6 times in a competition. I mean, I used to open up sometimes with 1,000 pounds. It used to be my opening weight sometimes. So I've been through a lot. I've done a lot, and I'm not grizzled. I'm 43 years old, and I feel fucking better than ever. And I know that you guys can too. So hop on this train if you haven't hopped on yet, and wait till you see what's next. I'll announce that probably tomorrow. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. I'm going to go in and do some bench pressing. All right, kicking some ass here on day number 27. Just got done with a 10-minute walk. You saw the 3-mile run already this morning. And I'm going to sit down here and work on some of these dog crap sets. I did 2 sets so far just to kind of warm up. And those are over, so now we're going to do kind of like 5 sets in 1. I got the weight load on there pretty good. So I'm going to see, with the point of this is to condense the amount of time that you're working, and then also you're adding a lot of volume and you're doing a lot of work in a short period of time, which can also help increase muscle mass. So we're just looking for a good stimulus, but we're not going to be in here for 9 hours. This is the first thing that we're doing for today. We're going to go over to the bench press after this. I'm doing some pull-ups in between, but here we go. This machine has some variations, and it's in like the strength curve, and so I'm going to adjust some of that. But if you don't have that and you're watching this, you don't need to worry so much about that. You can just change the weight, just kind of do like a drop set, I guess you'd say. I'm probably going to do both. Here we go. Ooh, that felt good. I'm gonna switch this now from where it was. We'll go here. Again, it's gonna be a different angle. I don't know what the weight's gonna feel like, but I'm just gonna lower it a little bit anyway. Here we go for some mo. We got about 10 to 15 seconds rest. It's supposed to be like 5 breaths, so however long that takes you. So this is the third one. Keep in mind I'm doing 5 sets of this. Locked and loaded. Oh, this one feels a little lighter. Good. 6, 7, 8, 9. Ooh, still 2 more sets to go. I'm gonna rotate this one back to 1. Couple seconds rest. Whew. Now it felt heavy right away. It's heavy from the bottom on this setting. Get the number of reps I wanted. I want to get 12. I'm gonna lower it. See if I can finish out. Holy shit. 1 more set to go. I'm gonna take advantage of putting on that slightly easier setting. I'll add that in there to make sure it's a barn burner. Whew! A hell of a way to warm up for the day. I guess I might as well shake what my mama gave me. Let's see what we got here. Feels a little easy, especially for the last set. Add a little more weight. Holy crap. I know you guys are probably all turned on by the hair going from here and just keeps going down and keeps kind of, anyway. Felt like a really good set, good way to pop up the pecs before we start our training session today of doing some flat bench. And you're gonna use that Chris Duffin bar and get a really good stretch because the bar will shove you down into a position you normally can't get to because it has a camber in it. So we're gonna mess with that for today and a few other exercises. Set of 10 reps here with the Cadillac bar, kabukistrength.com. Felt really good. Got my hands out in that wider grip, and the wider grip is making me stretch more due to the curve of the bar. Feeling really good. Probably go up in weight a little bit, maybe just add a 10 on each side. That's 185 pounds. The next one would be 205. It feels good for what I'm doing today, and considering we've done some other stuff already too. Mixing up some pull-ups in there. We started off with some dog crap training today. Getting a good pec pop going, trying to stay on top of things, trying to represent those carnivores out there. Holla if you hear me. Strength is never weakness, weakness is never strength. Catch y'all later. Day number 27 of World Carnivore Month. I've been pretty strict to it. Just got done with a workout. Trained some upper body, trained some chest. Take a look at the legs. The legs are kind of indicative of whether you're doing your homework or not. They're still actually holding some water in comparison to the leanest I've been, but they're getting there. They're getting a lot better. And then this is the leanest I've been for the longest. I've never been this lean for this length of time. And like, I think a too graphic here, but dick roots coming in.
You know.
Some of that stuff's coming in. Remember a couple days ago, how many days ago was it that I was pinching a lot of back fat back here? From what I can see, and from what I can tell, it feels like it's pretty much gone. It's really, I mean, maybe not completely, but it feels like a lot less. Before I felt like I was grabbing a nice chunk. And all that's starting to come out, and even without flexing and stuff, the back is getting leaner. Now if I do flex, I got Christmas tree and a little bit of stuff going on back there. I'm not as big as I've been, so I've been a little bit bigger, a little bit leaner. But keep in mind, this is 27 days worth of work. Think about back to when I shared the information about the bodybuilding show. 90 minutes of cardio every day, all those carbohydrates. And people are like, you look flat, you look flat. You wanna know who else looks flat? Everybody. Everybody, when they're dieting, even Phil Heath would look flat here and there in comparison to how he would normally look when you're dieting down. Then what do you do at some point? You refill, you reconstitute,
you start to eat more food. So I'll get to a point where I bring food back in until I fill back up again and get a little bit bigger, but I'm nearly 230 pounds. That's pretty damn big. I don't know what the body fat percentage is, but it doesn't appear to be all that high. So that's 230 pounds of predominantly muscle, and I keep getting in better shape every single day. Every single day there's a new vein. Every single day there's like a new little wrinkle in the system of the body that I'm trying to build. And it feels fucking awesome. I know it can feel this way for you guys too. I'm not even trying to sell anything to you. Although I have a lot of shit that you can buy, right? I'm just trying to share this information out. All the information's on my YouTube channel. It's all over the place. It's on every form of social media that I have. You might as well take it while you can get it, and you might as well start to utilize it. Try new things. Give them a shot. Bill Belichick, one of the greatest coaching minds, one of the most successful people, probably in the history of America, I guess in terms of sports. But Bill Belichick, you know, he's got a system, and people are always so baffled on how he can rack up so many victories and what's going on with the Patriots and what's up with Tom Brady. And I'm sure they'll probably be back in the hunt in the Super Bowl run next year, because that's what they always do. Bill Belichick is a big fan of trying things out. That's it. How goddamn simple is that? He'll hear science about something. He'll have somebody look into it. Maybe he looks into it himself. Maybe he's like, that sounds pretty good. Okay, these teams are using it. Okay, that team does it. Okay, that guy does it. Let's bring it in. Let's try it. Let's try it. Oh, it doesn't work for us. It's useless. Get rid of it. It works. Keep it in there. I think Bruce Lee had similar principles as well. Why not have the same principles with some of your training, and why not start to work on getting the body that you want? Jack and pale.
I do a good flexor there.
Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you all later. Jumping on in to Rosemary's Kitchen with the wifey. Lunch date.
Here at Rosemary's Kitchen, and look at this platter that they gave me. They gave me my own specialized carnivore platter. Whoa! Look at that. Yeah? Unbelievable. Can't wait to chow down. I got chicken, I got pork, I got salmon, I have steak, and I got bacon.
Hello.
Looks amazing.
Hey.
What came first? The chicken or the egg? Got some awesome poached eggs right here. Looking awesome. I cooked up some steak. That's real yummy. And I cooked up some hot dog, and that creamy weird stuff is from this, because I'm trying to eat a little bit less fat. And so what I tried to do is I tried to cook my boner broth a little different. Should know better because I've already mastered the recipe. But I put egg whites in there instead of like whole eggs, and then it turned into like this weird whippy thing. But it's actually really good. And it leaves kind of a creamy residue behind that I threw on my hot dog, and then I'm going to throw on my meat. You know, again, it sounds disgusting. I recognize that, but we're deep into this carnivore thing. There's no turning around now. This is going to be it for today. This is going to be the last meal. It's probably like 5 o'clock or something like that. So I got to end everything a little bit early today. Hopefully I'll go to bed early and pack it in and get ready for day number 28 of World Carnivore Month. Catch y'all at Strength is Never Weakness, Weakness is Never Strength. Catch y'all later.